You hear me sometimes on Saturdays, I sincerely hope, on the Garden Mama Show. But when I get to sit in for somebody else, it's a whole nother set of subjects. And today, good afternoon, Rhino.
Howdy, howdy.
How's everything in the world?
Oh, it's almost Friday, so I can't complain.
Well, I appreciate that. Today is World Philosophy Day, and that sounds like a good philosophy to me. But it's also Hello Day.
There we go.
So I'm saying hello. Thank you very much, Shelley Hotchkiss-Whitehead, for coming over from Meridian. The general manager. Now, look, y'all, we have to behave ourselves. The general manager of SuperTalk Meridian is here with us today. We're going to talk about Meridian, one of my favorite places that I really think I could go every week if there was literally, if literally I just had that train, you know. And we do think there will be one very soon. So that's another part of the puzzle. Shelley, thank you for coming to see me. Thank you for being here. And I know Rebecca will be glad that we had the opportunity to sit and talk about Meridian and what else going on in your world.
Well, we have a ton going on here in Meridian, and it's just, I guess, and I'm actually in Jackson right now, so I got to come over and, have a beautiful drive. It's only an hour and a half away from Jackson, and we're right there on the 5920. So it's so easy to get to. We have so many great things going on. We have so many people in our city that are just wanting the best. And we have events going on. We have new construction coming. We have our brand new hotel. I guess it's not that new anymore, the 3-foot hotel. We have the MAX, the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience.
Brilliant.
And they have their own. We just can't even talk about all the things that they have going on. The Mississippi Children's Museum. We have a railroad museum also.
I've been there.
It's so neat. And if you are a history buff, you definitely need to check out the railroad museum. And we have Mary Hope, which they were on my show this morning on Building Our Future. And they're decorating the house. And do you know that the Mary Hope house is in contention to win Best Holiday, that's a tough one, Best Holiday Historic House.
Wow. I kind of like bestest myself.
Bestest, yeah.
But, people work so hard when they take on a project like that. I'm glad to see they're getting some recognition. That's wonderful.
Well, we just have to continue, and positivity is the key. And with any time you have growth, you're going to have naysayers. But we want to make sure that we are continuing with a positive attitude because we want to just continue to grow. And we have so many events coming up, especially during the holiday season. But we have had so many things going on over the last, ever since fall. It's like fall comes around and there's something every weekend.
There's literally pedal to the metal, y'all. There's so much going on in Meridian. I don't care if you want to go over and visit for a day, you want to go stay for a week, you'll find yourself with plenty to do. And Shelley's going to bring us a lot of details about what they're up to as well in the SuperTalk world, because y'all are reaching out into the community to do some real good there. We're going to get to those things today. I really, the last time that I was in Meridian was to speak to what I'm really very fond of, the XYZs at Central United Methodist. The extra years of zest is something that I have always aspired to, and I'm glad to know that I'm finally grown up enough to be part of that group. But what a beautiful facility, and the whole downtown really is just to get lost in. Just walk around, look at things, and see what's there, because the architecture itself is enough of an attraction.
Absolutely. And our studio is in downtown Meridian. It's on the corner. It's actually 3 doors up from the 3-foot hotel. So we get to watch everyone that's visiting, walk their dogs, everyone that's on their way to lunch. We have so many great restaurants that have emerged. Harvest Grill is right across the street from SuperTalk, so we eat there a lot. And the oldest restaurant in Mississippi is in Meridian, Weidman's Restaurant.
I did not know that.
So, well, that's what they say. But Charles at Weidman's is fabulous, and he's such a contributor to our community and its overall growth as well. Anytime that there's a special event, most of the time it's going to be Weidman's that is catering it. But we also have Jeans in downtown Meridian, and it's in a beautiful, well-restored building. Alec Purvis has done a fabulous job of turning Jeans into a beautiful lunch place where you can get your meat and three. And
I love that.
It's
the whole thing of putting a lot of energy into old spaces and turning them into something new works better in Meridian than it does in a lot of places. No offense, I live here. I live in Fondren and Jackson. We're good too. But I have been to places that were not as beautiful as Meridian, and I really appreciate what the folks there have been able to do.
Well, it's taken a lot of work and a lot of people and a lot of forward thinkers. We have the Meridian Architectural Trust, which all they're doing is trying to preserve historic buildings and to bring a sense of newness and encourage people with some grants to buy older homes, fix them up. And there's a great historic district in Meridian that has all of these antebellum homes. It's right around Meridian High. It's absolutely gorgeous just to drive down Poplar Springs Drive. It's just so neat to see all of the things that are coming back to life.
That particular sense of place that goes with, I realize sometimes things just have to be torn down, and I get that, okay? There's some things that can't be rebuilt. It's too expensive, or the building itself was not built that well in the first place. But an awful lot of things can be restored, can be repurposed. And y'all do that better, I think, in Meridian than most places do. I'm kind of a hawk about it because I'm in my third old house over my lifetime, which is always in an older neighborhood, and I have appreciated the opportunities that I have seen to make things literally bounce back up. As you say, things we all go in sort of cycles in cities. Right now, Meridian is on the upswing big time, and I just think that's so much fun. But it's attributed to at least 10, 15 years of hard work by so many people. And that's where you end up, is the place where y'all are now.
Well, when I first moved to Meridian 13 years ago, I'm from the Florida Gulf Coast in Destin. And so I was thinking to myself, I am moving to Mississippi. I was not happy about it. And really, Weidman's was the only place to eat downtown. And it was really the only place to go to have a cocktail.
You've seen a lot of changes.
Absolutely. And people did not go downtown. Like, they just did not. And so, one by one, businesses started opening up with the revitalization in mind.
Put some energy underneath it, and then give a little push here and there, with those grants and things. It makes a big difference.
And Visit Meridian has a lot of grants that they help with. And then, just bringing the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment experience downtown.
Huge.
And it's huge. And it highlights all Mississippi artists. And, they're doing an exhibit right now, the Walter Anderson exhibit, which he's one of my favorite artists.
I've been seeing the information about that exhibit, and I think it's one of those things that's so hard to do, and it takes that kind of vision that they have there, as well as that amount of space, to really make it worthwhile. And I think it looks beautiful.
Well, and before the Walter Anderson exhibit, they had a guitar exhibit, and it was just great because you see all these different guitars signed by so many different folks. And actually, Steve Azar came and played.
I was just thinking of him. I was thinking he must have been there.
He did. And he's also done a book signing there for his book, his children's book that he's written. So we're attracting people from all over. And it's just great to have, someone like Steve coming to Meridian, ambassador for the arts here, and, part of SuperTalk family. The more the merrier.
Absolutely.
I want to get everyone from SuperTalk Mississippi over there.
I'm not a young chicken myself, but my grandmother came from Loosedale, Mississippi, and she was a strong force in my life, which extended to and included country music. So, of course, Jimmy Rogers has been part of my DNA
right
forever.
Right.
And that, to me, I think that might have been the first time that I became aware of it. And the oldest music festival, JimmyRogers.com, in case y'all don't know, and it does have a D in it. But it's magnificent music, and the tradition has literally played itself all the way out into today. It's just, it's ongoing. So I really appreciate that part of it. She could sing, and but she wouldn't sing if she was listening to somebody she really liked, and that's how we knew who she liked.
Right.
She would sing over anybody else, But most folks didn't. Most folks would like to listen to her sing. I think sometimes we talk about what used to go on, and we don't realize that it's still happening. And that music festival is one of those things.
Well, and it is. And it was the biggest it had ever been last year. They sold out the Temple Theater, which is another historic.
That one just gives me chills. Temple Theater is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
It is. And, and that's one of those things that I'm a big advocate for. But, she brought the Red Clay Strays to Meridian.
Yes.
And originally they were going to play at the Max, but it was pouring down rain. It was an outside concert. And so luckily, that's why you keep your relationships and your networking really great with Roger
true.
Smith at the Temple. Was
Get
like,
those
bring him
things
here.
put together.
Exactly.
I love that. Well, guess what, y'all? Shelley Hotchkiss-Whitehead is my guest today, and she's going to stay with me because we're going to talk about Meridian. I want to talk about her work at SuperTalk. I want to talk about your radio program, and I also just want to hear what y'all have to say. I mean, what do y'all think? Y'all like Meridian? Let's hear about it. We'll be right back. Yes, in fact, friends, on this day in 1976, Rocky premiered in New York City. It won the Oscar the next year, and if we had a nickel for every time somebody has run up those steps since then and had their picture taken, we would be wealthy. Welcome in to good things. That is a good thing. Come on now. But I will tell you this. The person who wrote that piece of music is named Bill Conti, and he's from LSU, from my alma mater. And he is somebody that I actually have encountered. Can't say I knew him, but I encountered him and his music at different points along the way. And it's just one of those people, you knew he was going to be big before he was ever big. You knew he had that in him. You could just see it. Unlike most of the rest of us, we're just trying to get through college. But in his case, there was a lot more art there, and that's really terrific. Today, I'm happy to tell you we are redefining and understanding the word caress. Now, that comes from Kurt Vonnegut Jr.'s Cat's Cradle. If you've never read the book, you should. Put it on your list of things. Maybe there's an audio book. I don't know. But it's a group of people that are otherwise unconnected who come together. Sometimes they know it and sometimes they don't know it, but they come together for a greater purpose together. That's really what SuperTalk's about. And I'm not being pandering when I say this. We don't know each other. We've met each other a time or two, Shelley, but we don't know each other the way that we might like to because we're in two different parts of the world. But we have SuperTalk to pull us together.
We do, yeah.
So we get a chance to be here today. And, of course, everybody who ever falls into your world isn't necessarily part of your caress. It's the people that you can't quite understand why you know them in some cases. And oftentimes it is work. But it brings you together and you find out that you know things that you didn't know about one another just by being together for a while.
Right. I know. And that is one great thing about the SuperTalk Nation is that, everyone that works here is so positive and it's a great place to work. I come from a background of medical sales. I never thought that I would fall into radio, but it's become my passion. And when you're happy in a job, you can do so many great things. Absolutely.
The door's open. And in fact, I know that in my world, I came from a little bit of this media, a little bit of that media, and a whole lot of gardening and writing and all that sort of stuff. And SuperTalk really has given me the place to plant my feet and to grow some roots. I've been here longer than I've done anything else in my life except have children. So it's pretty wonderful in that particular way. Today we're focusing on Meridian because I think we all need to go over there. And I know that you're coming up in the new year, in 2025, can you imagine? Y'all are going to be doing a whole lot more with Visit Meridian. But
hopefully, yes.
I want to talk to you about what they're up to, and I want to talk to you about, frankly, the Temple Theater, just give me some more stuff because I want to hear more good things about Meridian.
Well, first of all, let's just start with tonight. So,
yeah, I was going to say, can we go to the farmer's market?
We can. So we have a great Meridian Main Street, and they are changing the face of downtown. We have ale trails now where you walk from establishment to establishment to, dine and to drink and to have fun with friends. And we had one for Halloween, and they're having the ale trail for Christmas. And so that's just bringing more and more people to our downtown district. Now, tonight we have our Merry Meridian Market, which is at the Max, and it is, it's kind of like our we have a Saturday, Earth's Bounty. That's the first Saturday of every month. So we're just bringing Earth's Bounty to the Max, which moving forward in 2025, Earth's Bounty is going to be at the Max.
That's great.
Every first Saturday of the month. But it's tonight. And so Craig Wilkes is with the City of Meridian. That's his baby, and he's a horticulturalist as well. And he brings out everybody to be a part of this event, all types of different vendors. And it's just so fun. The kids are running around. There's food trucks. There's music. You can just sit back and relax.
I love that.
They serve great, wine and beer, and you can sit down and eat and listen to the music and then shop. I mean, those are like my 3 favorite things to do.
Exactly.
Eat,
Who's
drink, and
gonna
shop.
complain?
Exactly.
One of the things that's so cool about Meridian that other folks might not know, y'all have some of the best horticulture in the state, and I'm not kidding when I say that.
I was blown away.
I've been to the Daylily Society. I have had the opportunity to visit with some of the master gardeners over time, and I'm just going ahead and drop the name Gail Barton. If y'all don't know her, you need to. Smart people, brilliant plant growing, and real interest, deep interest in native plants and the environment that we live in. I think that goes directly to the way Meridian builds itself, is with that kind of consciousness. And I think that's very admirable.
Well, that is. And nothing better than horticulture to make your city prettier. And, we have...
Main Street, of course, does have to push all of these things.
We do.
And you're pushing in the right direction, obviously.
Well, the corner here at SuperTalk, we could definitely use some fluffing. So when you come to Meridian, because I want to invite you to come to a Jimmy Rogers event, and that's going to be on Thursday, December the 12th. We have Chapel Hart.
Y'all know. If you've been with me this week, we've talked about how much I want to go to this.
Chapel Hart is going to be amazing. They've come to Meridian several times. They played at Jimmy Rogers. They played at the Max. I've gotten to interview them. I kind of jumped out of the studio and chased them down the street after they got done eating at Jean's.
I love that.
And they're like, sure, and they're the happiest girls in the whole wide world. And they're from Mississippi, like just a little bit south of Meridian.
We know now that they're from Chapel Hart. They are from near Poplarville. They are absolutely homegrown, beautiful ladies. And we're lucky.
They're the happiest ladies in the whole world.
This week.
They were in Europe not too long ago because I got to go to the Marty Stewart Museum dedication at the Country Music Hall of Fame in Nashville with Jimmy Rogers and Leslie Lee. And I got to say hey to Marty. I felt like a celebrity, really.
How fun.
It was so much fun. But Chapel Hart, they're just the happiest ladies and so talented. So
they work hard and it shows, it really does.
And while you're there, you'll be able to, listen to Chapel Hart and see the Temple Theater. So,
Wonderful.
It's a twofer.
It's a twofer. It'll be the best Thursday of the year for me.
And you'll get to support Jimmy Rogers and learn more about Jimmy Rogers. And you can maybe visit the Jimmy Rogers Museum that's right, I call it down the street and around the corner. And so everything is kind of like, there's so much to do in Meridian. I may not be able to cover all of it in an hour, Nellie.
I know. We may have to do this again one day.
But it's great. And it's so much fun being an outsider.
I wish that you would tell folks, because they can get a whole lot of information from us here, but you do a show on Tuesdays, and I want to make sure that folks know about that, because that when y'all started posting that, and I get it in my social media, I was just tickled. I'm sitting there watering plants or doing something else and listening to y'all tell me everything. It's just great.
Well, we try to do as much good for the community as we can possible. So, but real quick, also tonight following the Meridian Market. So this is kind of going to open up to SuperTalk Cares for our community. Tonight we're having another fundraiser that's across the street at Dumont Plaza. So you can go to Meridian Market at the Max, and you can walk across the street to Dumont Plaza. And the Meridian Aces are doing a fundraiser. There's a whole bunch of people contributing, 4 different bands, and they're doing a fundraiser for hurricane relief, for Hurricane Helene with the Salvation Army. And our Salvation Army leader, Lieutenant Roy Fisher, he is doing so many great things in our city, and just for the betterment, and just takes people like him and us all coming together to, make an impact.
Well, it's the perfect piggyback event too.
Exactly.
So that makes a whole lot of sense. We go and have a big time and enjoy ourselves at the farmers market, and then we go and do some good across the street.
Exactly.
For the Salvation Army.
Exactly.
Makes a lot of sense, and it's also so important. People, everything goes by like this, but there's still folks trying to figure out what they're going to do in the wake of Hurricane Helene. It has been a devastating event.
Well, and our studio has also contributed quite a bit for Helene. Monet Cranford, her son, has been going over to North Carolina taking loads. So we really are hands on board. So we really trying to make a difference. Coming from Florida, I've been through a couple hurricanes, so I know how terrifying they can be, and just the detriment that they cause. I just feel so bad for those people up there. But hopefully, we're sending heaters, we're sending socks, jackets, shoes, anything you possibly. They need baby items. They need everything.
Gosh,
there.
I didn't even think about it, but of course they need heaters.
Yeah, because it's cold
goodness.
here, and imagine if they're up in the mountains, which
oh my goodness,
and the isolation. So, but with that being said, that's why we created this campaign for my show called Grind, Grace, and Growth, and it airs every Tuesday at 9 a.m. And we wanted to do, a campaign of giving for the holidays. And so what I'm doing is I'm highlighting all these different nonprofits that are making a difference in our community.
Will you be able to tell us about several of them? I know you've got a lot of things.
I will.
In the
if
air.
I can remember all of them.
We're going to spin the plates and talk about that with Shelley.
Absolutely.
Because SuperTalk cares. We know SuperTalk cares. The point is, y'all are putting feet under it. Y'all are putting it on the ground and taking it out to the community. And I love that.
And we're trying to highlight them and, increase donations this holiday season.
It's this time of year. It's got to be done. All right, now we're going to step away, but we will. This is, in fact, Good Things. Rebecca is away. I'm Nellie Neal sitting in today for her, and I'm so happy to tell you that my guest is the general manager of SuperTalk Meridian, Shelley Hotchkiss-Whitehead. We've just been talking about our previous, everybody has a previous life, and in our previous lives, we were nonprofit folks. We worked in that sector for a good period of time, and you are exactly right. Whatever empathy you brought to it, it increases when you see how hard people work for the most basic things like hurricane relief.
Exactly.
Like, taking care of other people. Talk to me about this initiative that you've put together, SuperTalk Cares, and some of the nonprofits in Meridian that can benefit from it.
So I was in my little office. Actually, I like to work in the studio a lot at SuperTalk Meridian because I can look out the window and I get sunshine and watch all the people pass by. And so it's very enlightening. And I'm just looking around our city and I was like, wow, we have made such strides over the last 13 years. And it's taken an army of amazing people. And I like to interview movers and shakers that make a difference in our community. And that's kind of the slogan for my show because it's called Grind, Grace, and Growth. And it
truly is.
And it truly
Tuesdays
is.
at 9.
And when you work in nonprofit, you're doing it, for the greater good.
Yes.
And so, and it requires donations of any type a lot of times. And so I put together, this campaign where I interview 3 different nonprofits every week. And then we're running PSAs for them also during the interview week. And we're talking about all their different events that they have going on that we need to support. And so there's just so many nonprofits that are doing
so
such
much sense. They need that.
They do. In fact, I had to extend my campaign after Christmas into the new year because there's still nonprofits that need help, and just highlighting what they do is also really, really important because, a lot of times people have never heard of a certain nonprofit. It might be a smaller nonprofit or a new nonprofit. And, I've sit on the boards for several different nonprofits, and I've done a lot of advocacy for Alzheimer's awareness in the past. I worked with Alzheimer's Mississippi, and TJ Harvey, if he's out there listening, he is now on the coast. And him and I, with doing fundraising for Alzheimer's, I got to travel a lot and be a part of the CARES Act lobbying with TJ on Capitol Hill. And so I got to do some really, really neat things.
Very meaningful work, and at the same time rewarding personally because you have the opportunity to see other people thrive.
Exactly. And so Alzheimer's was something that was near and dear to my heart. And my dad just recently passed about a year ago from Lewy body dementia.
I'm sorry.
And so, I was doing it really more. And it's funny how God works in your life sometimes. My degree is in travel, leisure, health, and sports management. And so, I moved to Montgomery, Alabama, where when I lived in Destin, I was working on the coast and working at a hotel doing event planning. It was so much fun. But then I'm like, I'm moving to Montgomery, Alabama. What am I going to do here? So I started working as marketing director at an Alzheimer's assisted living.
Brought those skills in from the public sector right there into the private sector.
Exactly. And so I was just blown away with how much Alzheimer's affects families.
So much.
But it's kind of like God was just teaching me how to help my family and help my mom in the future. And, I just had no idea, that I would be affected or that my family would be affected in the way. So working at the assisted living, then I moved to Meridian. I'm over the support group in Meridian, and I was doing fundraising for Alzheimer's Mississippi before my dad's diagnosis here. And so next thing you know, I'm at a conference in Washington, D.C., and I'm telling one of the people that's a lecturer what the symptoms of my dad were. And he's like, Shelley, you've got to get him to the doctor. He has Lewy body. That is probably worst kind, which is Parkinson's and frontal. I don't want to say it's Parkinson's and frontal temporal lobe, but it's so many different aspects. And
so people may know that it's what Robin Williams had.
Right. And it does affect that frontal temporal lobe.
Yes.
And it has increased, schizophrenia and behavioral changes, personality changes. And when my dad passed, he was a 6'6" retired major and, just was always very intimidating, very smart and organized. And, and it had just great looking guy. And, his whole persona changed. And my mom, she is an angel. She took care of him as long as she could. After COVID, they moved to Meridian because of our VA nursing home system here. And it was really a blessing that they did because, I don't, after he passed, and having to place him, you just worry about your parents, I think.
Of course.
And so,
of course.
But with that being said, there's so many nonprofits out there that are doing such a great job. And with SuperTalk Cares for Community, I wanted to highlight what they're doing. And these executive directors, not only are they planning special events for our city, but they're making an impact in people's lives, like the Center for Pregnancy Choices. This is a place where it's a safe place for you to go and have support, and they encourage you and they pray with you and they try to help you make the right decisions. And then we did the Wesley House, which the Wesley House is a huge nonprofit, and they do
Big
everything.
Organization.
I can't even tell you everything that they do. I know they have a food pantry and they serve and they give toys out at Christmas, and we interviewed the Salvation Army. And we have interviewed so many.
By calling attention to these nonprofits on your show, of course, you're giving them an avenue to be able to reach people that wouldn't ordinarily have heard about them necessarily, but it's also helping them to articulate their message. And that's always part of the difficulty of a nonprofit. You can have a mission statement that's kind of lofty because that's what a mission statement is about, but you still need a director that can come in and say, this year we want to do X, Y, and Z,
right.
And that's really what brings in the donors. I think that's so smart for you to give them that opportunity.
Well, we also have a very large nonprofit in Meridian called Hope Village, and it was established by Celia Ward. So she is kind of like our hometown celebrity, and she saw a need, and she created the need, and she found a solution. And so now I got to go tour the Hope Village a couple of weeks ago. They're doing a complete renovation. Hope Village is, essentially a place where children can go live that are in trouble or their parents are in trouble. And so it's just a great place. They try
what
to
we
keep,
like to call difficult situations.
Right.
And if you're not prepared to cope with them, it really helps to have an organization you can turn to because
Right.
life's tough.
It is.
And it gets tougher every year for some folks. And in those cases, where you're going to get that assistance really does depend on the power of your community to marshal its resources. That's what Meridian's doing.
It is. And I ran in the Run for Hope, which is the Hope Village Run. And so it's a 5K and a 10K. It's a
God
great
bless
race.
you, I can't run.
And they have a 10K. And if you've never been to Bonita Lakes, that's a wonderful place
so
to go
beautiful.
visit. And you know what? They have now an arbitrarium.
Really? Arboretum, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Trees.
Trees. So you hike and you can hike on the back trails, and all the different trees are listed. It's
I love
great.
it. That is so. That makes so much difference to your experience there.
Absolutely.
We all want to go out in nature, I want to go hang out, but we also want to go and say, well, what is that? You know, and have somebody tell us with a sign. I think that's brilliant.
But at the Run for Hope, the kids were there. They participated in the race, and the programming that they're offering these kids is unreal. They all have jobs if they're of age. They really try to focus on keeping brothers and sisters together, and it's really magical what they're doing for kids, you know, that have had trauma. And there's so many other organizations like that as well, including the Salvation Army, which I've already spoken about a couple of times, and he's got a food pantry as well. And, you know, again, his fundraisers tonight.
One of the things that I think if individuals who don't have any need for any of these services, if you never see them, it's very difficult to understand what situations other people are in.
Right.
And by bringing attention to the nonprofit sector, you're also letting folks, in one sense, it's count your blessings, and in the other sense, it is, like you had the experience, you should learn about this stuff. You might need to know it one of these days.
Right.
You know,
absolutely.
Surprise.
Exactly.
And that's how life gets us. If we're a little bit more prepared, I think sometimes we have a better reaction when things happen, because they're going to happen.
And to know that these services are available.
Exactly. What's out there. And that Meridian can support them.
Exactly.
You know, that's the power of that whole community.
And I did an interview with the Free Clinic of Meridian, which is a nonprofit doctor's clinic. If you don't have insurance, you can go there and get medical service. And that's been in Meridian for 10 years. I remember when that was just an idea for some of the local physicians, and now they're doing great things. And someone during the interview, it was brought to my attention, well, think about if you lose a job and your insurance
and all
is
of a sudden it's gone.
Right. And you may not qualify for Medicaid.
Our time is running out, but
Shelley
and I will be back with a little bit more to talk to you about. We might even bug Rhino a little bit.
We could talk all day, Nellie.
We could. We're going to go do that, by the way, y'all. We're going to be out over coffee later. It is Beaujolais Nouveau Day, so that's another thing. Somebody called that to my attention. We'll be right back. But whatever you're doing, put Meridian on your map. I'm so happy to tell you that Shelley and I are now plotting Chapel Hart, Temple Theater.
We're going to have so much fun, Nellie. You've never been out with me in Meridian.
I have not, and I look forward to it. We're going to have a good time. The Temple Theater is one of the prettiest things that we will ever experience. Now, everything ages a little bit, and I realize it's aging like I am, but talk to me a little bit about the nexus of that entertainment world, because between the Max and y'all have so much.
We have so much, and then we also have our Meridian Museum of Art too.
Yes, of course.
I could go on and on.
By the way, y'all, that was a Carnegie Library. That thing. It's more architecture.
We could go on and on about all the different infrastructure that's in our city, and to include the Riley Center as well.
Absolutely.
And so, which was the old Opera House. So with the Temple Theater, it was built, I believe, in 1928 or 1929, and it has a speakeasy in it.
Yeah.
And so when you get to go, and I like to use my press pass to go backstage sometimes, and you go upstairs and there's this little speakeasy upstairs, and it just has so much history. It is. And it has so much history, and you guys, it's a huge stage, and it holds 1,100 people.
Yeah,
and
great.
So, you can fit so many people. And my daughter's performing in the ballet Magnificat next Tuesday there. So she's excited to be a part of that group, which is based here in Jackson, And so she's just thinks it's going to be awesome to be a little angel. But did you know that our very own Ken Rainey, who has a show on SuperTalk called All About Country, and he has produced over 2,000 shows at the Temple Theater. So well, first of all, Ken Rainey's a legend.
Yes.
But he brought all of these different country artists to Meridian. They played on the Temple stage for Jimmy Rogers.
I love it. That's so wonderful.
So they go hand in hand.
It all ties together.
It all ties together. And then with the Riley Center, that's a Mississippi State University.
Yes.
It's the Opera House here. And they have completely redone the Riley Center. You talk about a beautiful, beautiful theater. I went and saw the U.S. Army Ambassador Field Band there Tuesday. Oh, they were so good.
What a wonderful opportunity.
It was the neatest, and I didn't want to go, but my children again, like I told you, they beg me, Mom, what are we doing tonight? Because, I find everything that's going on in Meridian that's fun. And so we went, and now my son wants to play the drums.
Oh, that's wonderful. It might not be your wish come true, but I just think it's delightful that he has that inspiration.
But with the Raleigh Center, we get a lot of really big acts there. Morgan Dudley and her team there are doing a fantastic job. She's the new executive director. And they just are doing such a good job in bringing in, different talent, and
the sky's the limit.
The sky's the limit. And you never know who's going to show up. We have Old Crow Medicine show coming next year.
Goodness.
And we've had Lori Morgan, and it's just the tops.
So much. And
then, you can buy season tickets for not, for a very reasonable price. And then just, you always have something to do. You never rest.
I love that. Well, and Meridian really is that kind of place anyway. My family we always went there during the reunions and stuff, because there would always be something going on that they wanted to take everybody to. And my experience there is limited. I can tell it's not going to be as limited. But this next year is going to be
we're going to go to Chapel Hart, which is on December the 12th.
And by the way, y'all should all go too. So
go to jimmyrogers.com for those tickets.
And by the way, that's a cool website, by the way. That's a really good one. I like
is.
that.
I don't know who built it. It wasn't us.
Well, it's a good one, though. And we appreciate knowing what's going on.
Right.
And you do such a beautiful job of that, Shelley. Thank you for bringing so much information to me today for us to be able to talk to everyone about. Because guess what? Every part of Mississippi has good things to share with one another. And that's really what we have the opportunity to do here.
Well, and the history. We have such a rich music history.
Incredible.
And you can learn about it at the Max and see it and feel it.
A lot of us take it for granted, because we grew up with that stuff. I didn't grow up in Mississippi, but I grew up coming to Mississippi. And so there was always another band. They wanted to go hear somebody else play the banjo, somebody else do something. And, of course, Jimmy Rogers is a legend in my family. So.
Right. And there's something in the mud. It's the Mississippi mud of how we have so much talent. So
maybe that's exactly what it is. I look forward to 2025. I know that y'all are going to be doing even more reaching out in your program, which is, by the way, Tuesdays, 9 a.m., SuperTalk Meridian, Grind, Grace, and Growth. Now, come on, that title had to have come to you in the middle of the night, Shelley. That's just wonderful.
Well, you're a writer. You know how it is.
I love
that creative chaos.
Sometimes we wake up and write things down, and we can still read them in the morning.
Exactly.
Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rhino. I will be in again tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to go down the movie road. I have things to say that may or may not be controversial. We'll find out. Have a wonderful evening, folks. We will see you.